All right, guys, back to work. Back to work, boy. Fantastic job today. It sounds a lot of folks made money today, so well done on that. What a beautiful trading session. And we're back to work tonight, though. We got, a big move higher this week and a shallow pullback after the CPI report today. Put those two clues together. Big move, shallow pullback. That makes our game plan, the roadmap, I think pretty easy to make money tomorrow. I'm going to cover all my favorite trades in this video. That way you have a roadmap to make some money as well. Before we jump in, though, on top of my favorite trades for tomorrow, make sure you subscribe to our channel. Hopefully by now you know you don't want to miss tomorrow night's video, so make sure you subscribe. And if you enjoy these videos, do me a favor, will you hit that like button for me and give me a shout out, give me a hell yeah down in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, supporting our channel. Again, fantastic job. Got a bunch of emails this morning, guys, making money. Well done on that. Now back to work. Focus. Charts ready to go. That NASDAQ triple Qs are all ready. The E-mini and the SPY is ready. I have three important clues on these charts right now that are telling us where the winning trades are waiting for tomorrow. One of those important clues is right here on the hourly time frame, the 60-minute time frame. We talked about this last night on the video, of course. The buyers are back in business again after they held a pullback and got some separation off that 21 EMA. I like to use the hourly time frame to tell us the best overall momentum direction, and that acts as a filter for my trades on the faster time frame. Because, there's one thing about these higher time frame, hourly time frames, they're good for direction, but they're not good for picking entries, timing the best entries. I have two more important clues on some faster time frames, some tick charts that will kind of help bring the whole game plan together. But one very important clue, though, is this overall bullish bias now. Now, before we talk about entries and the two more important clues for the game plan for tomorrow, let's check schedule for tomorrow, because there's a pretty busy Thursday. Tomorrow is kind of your average Thursday, which means we pretty much always have, except for Thanksgiving morning, pretty much always have news at 8:30 on Thursday morning. And they're going to pack this thing tomorrow. Jobless claims, retail sales, Philly Fed, manufacturing data. We got a ton of news coming out at 8:30 Eastern time. So I definitely wouldn't hit that snooze button too much tomorrow morning. We got a pretty active session tomorrow. And of course, we'll have a front row seat for this tomorrow morning in our trade room. If I had to guess right now, I would guess the retail sales and the Philly Fed number are probably the most important numbers out of that. But it'll be tough to tell, right? Well, of course, as always, we'll trade the market's reaction tomorrow morning in our trade room, starting off at 8 o'clock Eastern time. But let's get back to our charts, though, because I mentioned earlier that these hourly time frames, they're good for giving us direction. Let's now drill down to some faster time frames, some tick charts, because I think the tick chart's going to give us a lot more evidence or clues here as far as at a time the best entries. Now, this is a 7,000 tick chart. All the time frames there in the upper left-hand corner. Tick charts are better for pattern recognition. I do a lot of pattern trading, as you guys know, in our trade room each morning. So patterns are easier on tick charts. And in case you're watching for the first time right now, that yellow line right there, that is the 21 EMA. It's pretty much the only indicator we use to find lots of winning trades each week. There are two more, I think, just as important clues here on these tick charts. One of those clues is this trading range. If you watch my videos or if you've taken my free video course yet, you know how much we love ranges because they love to rotate. Ranges are magnets, and they love to rotate back and forth, right? Like a pendulum. So right now the buyers have that beautiful, and I'll tell you, what a beautiful two-legged pullback. If you watched last night's video, we mentioned the two-legged pullback, a bit more than a measured move, right? Are you guys hearing this in your sleep now? Two-legged pullback, a measured move that goes too far. Anyways, that was a great signal this morning in our trade room. But the most important thing, though, is we got the rotation off the low, the rotation off the high. We've kind of broken through that rotation. So now the buyers would love to get a breakout and a pullback off that trading range. We'll talk about some entry tactics on that later on in the video. That's definitely a possibility for tomorrow. And also, too, I think everybody would like a pullback right now. We may get a rotation back down again. Buyers would love to get some bear traps down there. That would definitely be one of my favorite trades for tomorrow as well. Remember, there are quite a few different variations of bear traps, and we'll talk about that, of course, as we go deeper into this video as well. So one of my favorite trades is the bear trap zone below that low. But I think the most important clue for tomorrow is what I call a big move, shallow pullback. Big move, shallow pullback. We've had a pretty big move. In fact, pretty much the entire month of, really ever since last Thursday, we had this very big move going higher. And even though we did see that kind of classic two-legged pullback, it was a relatively shallow two-legged pullback, and the market ran higher. So big move up the last couple days, shallow pullback. Oftentimes what happens in these situations is the buyers begin to run out of bullets up here, right? We have to pull back a bit deeper to attract in more buyers. And oftentimes these situations end up producing a big rug pull. If the trading gods are watching down on us tomorrow morning, they will give us that rug pull, because that will allow us now to load the boat back up and run back up into that range again. So one thing we know is everybody wants a pullback right now. Now, I wish I had a crystal ball. I wish I knew when that rug pull was going to happen. It's not an if it will happen, it's a when. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, maybe next week. I don't know when it's going to happen. So let's talk about some different scenarios here to buy the right pullback. For example, I have this channel drawn on off the highs, off the low. There's a very good chance we keep on running higher here. Again, it's August right now, so I wouldn't be surprised this keeps on running higher into next week here. So if I get a shallow pullback right now, again, I want a deeper pullback. We'll talk about that in a moment. If I see a shallow pullback right now, the challenge here is I'm buying relatively high. It's a good looking channel. I like the idea. It's a pretty strong run going higher here. So what I'll do is I'm going to use what we call a shallow pullback trap. It'll be a bear trap pattern like I teach in the free video course. It'll be a higher high in price and it moves right below that low. These are classic or technical bear trap patterns. I want to buy as low as I can on a shallow pullback like that. And that's the pattern I'm looking for if we pull back to the low of this channel. That's probably the least desirable trade, but it's something on my radar for tomorrow. What is a lot more desirable would now be a deeper pullback. On a deeper pullback, I don't have to worry about being too high. Now the concern is all of that momentum. All that momentum will want to keep going lower. So in these situations, if I get a deep pullback, I'm not going to try to pick the bottom on this because it may end up getting rug pulled. What I'll do is I'm not going to simply buy blindly in this area, although I do love this area, that pendulum swing down there, some triangle levels down there. Love that area for a long trade. I just can't pick a bottom on this. What I'll do on these situations is I'll use that failure pattern we teach in the free video course. Bears come in once, bears come in twice, and once I have those bears trapped in twice, now I know where their stops are. Now think about this. If you're caught short, you get stopped out, you're buying your way out. So sellers become buyers when a failure pattern triggers. Now these failure patterns, where does the market want to go? It wants to rotate back and forth inside of this trading range, right? So as it rotates higher now we look for, it'll be a technical bear trap. Now look how I draw this pattern, right? Because a lot of folks ask me questions and they have a hard time kind of grasping this entry setup. It's very simple. It's a higher high in price, and ideally what you want is a very shallow pullback between those two highs. It'll barely come back that 21 EMA. So higher high in price, a move just below that low, a nice strong green candle will close above that 21 EMA, and there's your bear trap pattern. Again, deep pullback, look for a failure into a bear trap combination. And again, we're going to run that thing back up, take out those highs. Remember also too, the amount below the range, the amount above the range. I'll give you guys good targets for tomorrow. The final one is the rug pull. The rug pull is what everybody wants, right? Because we've been moving up so much the last few weeks here. If I do get that rug pull, the biggest challenge on a rug pull is it's not location. It's a great location for, right? Remember, you always want to ask yourself, how is my location and how is my momentum? Okay, there's always a problem. Location is fantastic down here. It's a great spot to be a buyer because you're buying nice and low in a bull market. Location is not the problem. It's momentum. All of that momentum going lower is going to want to pull back and retest that low before we run back up and take out that high again. So I have to make sure I protect myself against bears coming in. So what I'm looking for now is what we call a crown reversal pattern in our trade room. It's very, very simple. I'm going to wait for the bears to try once. let them go higher here. Let them try twice. Now this looks like a failure pattern. What I want is to get right below that low, a nice strong green candle closing above that 21 EMA, and that will get me in now. What I'll do is I'll take a 1-to-1 target. That way, if we do end up rolling over, I'm already in the green on that trade. My stop can move up to point of entry, get rid of the, you know what I mean? Hopefully it winds up and keeps on going. But again, if we get that big rug pull like that, it oftentimes will roll over and retest low. And again, as it goes higher here, think about adding more now with that same higher high in price and that bear trap, right, going back up to retest the high here. Again, I call these crown reversal patterns. They're like a failure pattern, but a little more safe, right? A little more cautious. And of course, that is a technical bear trap pattern. So now let's slow down for a second, because at this point, we covered a lot of different topics, different entry patterns. And I know most of you guys know these. You're making money with failures and deep pullback traps and trap patterns. But if you're watching for the first time right now, this might be a brand new strategy for you. But don't you worry, I teach the entire roadmap. I have hundreds of examples of failures and pullback combinations, bear traps, bull traps. I teach a lot more of this in our free video classes. I'll put a link up top here for you, upper right-hand corner. Grab that link that popped up right there and take that free video course, because the strategy I teach in that short video series will teach you a remarkably simple trick we use in our members trade room that tells us where the best winning trades are going to be every morning. More importantly, I want to help you start making money on your own. I'll teach you 4 my favorite entry patterns, failures, traps, lots of combination setups, bull trap, pullback combinations. You'll learn the entire roadmap. Guys, the markets are way too good right now not to be making consistent money. If you're tired of missing the best trades each day, this is perfect for anyone who is serious about making money in these great markets right now. So again, hit that link that popped up there, learn that roadmap, start making money on your own, get your confidence back. Also, too, I'm going to put all the important links tonight, the description of the YouTube video. I'll put all the free class links down there. Start there first. We trade together every morning in our trade room, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'll put trade room membership links down there for you too. And don't forget too, I post a lot of updates on Twitter, or X they call it these days. If you're on Twitter X, I post charts and videos and mindset stuff. Give me a follow. Again, all the details, description of that YouTube video. But now at least you know though, now you know where to learn more about this strategy, because I do look at things a bit differently, I think, here on this YouTube channel. So now we have an idea of a shallow pullback, an idea for a deeper pullback, and if we're lucky tomorrow, right, that big rug pull, right, we know how to trade that rug pull as well. Now, I want to go further. I want to talk about a breakout pullback a bit later on in the video. I also want to talk about too, how can we short that move going lower? I want to talk about a possible bull trap up there as well. Before we do that though, a bit later on in the video though, let's talk about some variations of those entry patterns I just talked about, because again, I don't know what tomorrow will bring, and I want to make sure you guys, if we don't get the kind of the perfect setups I've talked about tonight, I want to talk about how to work around some variations. For example, I love the idea of a deep pullback, trapping in some bears, right, with a failure pattern, and right back up again. But you know what? There might be so many buyers underneath here, we may not get that failure pattern I want to trap the bears in. Sometimes what happens is, sometimes we get that strong run down, and there's so many buyers down there, it just whoop and runs right back up into that range. Because again, there will be some triangles here. There will be some rotations happening likely here. So there may be a lot of buyers down here. If that happens, this is where patience pays off. And of course, having a good game plan is always easy, makes it easier to stay patient. If it V bottoms off that low, what almost always happens is, we'll begin to see the market grinding higher. If it grinds higher like that, that's always going to be your giveaway. Now, the most important thing is we don't chase after this. We draw a trend line off the high. We bring that trend line down around that low. And as always, I like to look left and look for ways to combine a prior swing around the low of that channel. Now, of course, this could be any of the entry patterns you guys learn in our free video course. It could be a bear trap pattern, like I'm showing you here. Sometimes we don't have any prior swing, and we do is we get underneath the moving average for a failure pattern, right? This will make a lot more sense once you go through the free video course, failure patterns into pullback combinations. Just like over here, right? Over here, right? We go up, mark off those highs, mark off that low. And again, I want that first test, get below some of these prior swings. You will notice these what are kind of pop and grind channels. You'll notice this all the time once you start seeing them. So again, this would not be the most desirable. I'd rather buy nice and low here, but it V bottoms off that low, mark off that high, and again, stay patient. That's the key. Stay patient. Your patience is rewarded on these to find that new channel, and of course, go in, buy the bear trap, buy the bear failure, buy the pullback combination. Again, a lot of examples of those inside the free video course. One last variation. I mentioned earlier that if we make a strong run down, we're going to want to pull back and retest that low before we make that run going higher. We see a lot of these in our trade room each week where we'll get this range play, right? Where the amount above, the amount below, we'll have this thing take off to the downside. We'll get our failure pattern coming in, right? 1, 2, we'll get this as a winning trade going higher, but every once in a while they hold the underbelly of these ranges and all that strength going lower, the bears come in and they whack it back down again, right? They basically try to break out going lower. This is not a reversal, by the way. This is not enough to be a reversal of this overall bull trend. In most cases, this is a gift to the buyers because now anybody who sold up here, their profit targets are probably down around these lows again. So sellers getting in up here, they become buyers down here. Now the magic happens. Now, of course, right, I don't know how far that will go, right? Nobody does, right? So as it pulls back now, think about that same 1 try, 2 try. Why 2 tries? Because I want to trap the bears in. I want to squeeze those stops, force those sellers to become buyers now as it runs higher. And then again, as always, as the market goes higher, think about that shallow pullback, that higher high in price, a great way to add to your position, or for some reason you missed the failure pattern off that low, that double bottom retest, this becomes a great place to jump in. Again, I oftentimes will go out and connect a trend line off these new highs, bring it down to that low, and I'll tell you right there, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous setup. It's tough to lose money in a trade like that. It's very tough to lose money. Those are almost guaranteed winners when you have the channel with that bear trap all lined up, right? All the channel high off right those highs, pinned out that big low. Love those types of trades here. So again, if we do get that failure, get our 1-to-1, oftentimes we'll get bounced out right at the point of entry. But it's not a reversal yet, right? It's only a deeper pullback now, which is, again, a good thing for us after a big move higher the last few weeks. Trap the bears in with a failure pattern and then a technical trap pattern. And again, don't forget, these are ranges. They love to rotate. So think about where that market wants to go, right? Like today, right? The amount below, the amount above, and boy, oh boy, even overshot that move going higher. So now you know more about if we go lower here, some variations of this, and that way you guys have a kind of a bulletproof roadmap, no matter what these wild markets throw at us for tomorrow. Now let's talk about going higher, right? Not my favorite scenario for tomorrow, but again, it's August. We better be prepared mentally. This thing may keep on grinding higher here until, boy, who knows, possibly the Jackson Hole Symposium next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll see. Over down the NASDAQ right now. I know NASDAQ's getting lonely over here, not being used here. So NASDAQ, once again, 60-minute time frame, clearly tells us here we're a bull market. We saw, of course, the jump off that 21 EMA. We talked about this in quite a bit of detail last night on the video. And here we are now on the tick chart, a 4,000 tick chart, of course, on the NASDAQ. On the NQ, you'll notice here, or the triple Qs, it's basically one big bull range. And we know that ranges love to rotate back and forth, right? They go down, up, down, up, down, up. So you'll notice I'm doing here, I've marked up these trend lines off the highs, off the lows, and really the same exact game plan we mentioned on the S&P. I've got that trend line projected down below that low. We've got that pendulum swing right there. This is a very attractive area of support right there. The challenge, of course, is after such a big move going higher, and again, we have to be ready for that rug pull at some point. Hopefully it happens tomorrow. It might not be until Friday or next Monday. I don't know. So this right now is not the most desirable trade. So because of that, this would be that shallow pullback trap. It would look just like this one right there. Look over here, right? Look at they run lower. The bears try once. Higher high, bears try twice. It's too bad that one happened towards the closing bell this afternoon, but that is a classic, picture perfect example of that shallow pullback trap I would love to get on the S&P tomorrow, right? So same idea over here, right? Higher high in price, trap below that low. I want to buy as low as I can right now because of this just incredibly big move we've had since last Thursday. If we do make that bigger run lower, get down into some of these key levels of support below, this is where that failure, 1, 2, right? 2 tries because we want to trap in those bears. Failure into that bear trap combination comes in. Same stuff we mentioned before on the S&P. Just a slightly different look at the chart, right? Just a slightly different look at the chart there. It's a failure pattern. Again, into that bear trap combination. That moving average will be something like that, right? The bears will try a couple times, get trapped down there. And again, that bear trap pattern is a shallow pullback off that moving average. Feel free to take those highs down to that low, and man, oh man, what a great entry that would be. And the same thing goes for that rug pull too, right? So big rug pull. It's going to want to retest that low. Look for those bear trap entries, those crown reversal entries I mentioned earlier on the S&P. And same thing too, right? If it runs double bottoms, don't shy away from those. If it runs and V bottoms, you know how to trade those as well. So I don't mean to repeat myself too much on this, but some people oftentimes will ask me, well, how about the NASDAQ going lower? Same game plan as I mentioned before on the S&P. Now let's talk about going higher here. Got a couple breakout patterns we're watching for tomorrow. My big concern obviously is we're way high up right now, which means if we do get, I've got 2 types of reversal patterns or bull trap patterns we'll talk about here in just a moment. Now, one thing's for sure, there's plenty of space here to run above that trading range to take out that pendulum. So if we start seeing this market really begin to kind of grind higher here overnight, who knows, right? It was a pretty decent CPI report that we saw today, kind of a mixed bag if you read into it, but pretty decent CPI report, better, it wasn't horrible, that's for sure. And again, if we start running higher here, think about now the best way to buy this. If it does begin to kind of keep grinding higher here overnight into tomorrow, the only way to buy up here is to always buy as low as you can. It will always be with a bear trap. And so bear trap patterns are very simple. As we go higher, the key to this is separation. That's always going to be the key to a good bear trap because separation off that moving average means strength. So if I start seeing this thing pumping higher overnight or tomorrow morning it takes off and keeps on running higher, again, it's an overall bull market. It wouldn't surprise anybody here, I don't think. Higher high in price, get below that low. This becomes your bear trap pattern. Now, that's the initial entry on the way higher. And again, because we have all this resistance up overhead, this needs to be a pretty convincing pop up. A shallow pullback needs to have all those components to make sense on this entry going long. Now, this is very important because anytime we see a range and a breakout of that range, you might want to write this down, by the way, very consistent. The breakout leg is the measuring leg. So if I can get that bear trap pattern going higher, we now know the breakout leg and the measuring leg, right? That will give you an idea now of where to take your profit on that long trade. The first leg of a new trend, the breakout leg of a range, is always the measuring leg. Now, this is where we really have to be careful. We don't want to buy way up here, right? We're not buying shallow pullbacks after a measured move, after a big breakout like that. This is where a 2-legged pullback comes in handy again. Now, if you missed last night's video or you missed the introduction earlier on in this video, when I say 2-legged pullback, it's a measured move that goes a bit too far, right? It's 1 leg, get below the moving average, 2 legs. Think about that measured move that goes a bit too far. I showed you an example of that earlier on the S&P. Now remember, I don't know how far that pullback will go. Hopefully it goes somewhere around the tops of that, right, of this range right now. I don't know. It may wind up dumping all the way back down. That may be the rug pull that we get, and I'll talk about how to short that in just a moment. But for a pullback entry, I'll wait for that two-legged pullback, and now I may not know how far that pullback goes, but I do know that once this thing pulls back, this is a horrible place to be a seller. I would not want to short this up here maybe, right? Up here maybe, but not way down here, right? This is not a good spot to sell because you're selling relatively low. Hopefully, though, there's some rookies that don't see this video, they come in, they try once, they try twice. This, of course, is that same failure into that classic technical bear trap pattern that you guys are probably sick and tired of me talking about so far on this video, right? But I'll tell you though, once you learn these patterns, you will be happy you did, right? They repeat over and over again. So again, it's going to be a shallow pullback trap or a bear trap going long, right? On the way up, get that separation off the moving average. It's that measured move, breakout leg, measured leg. Then speaking of measured move, a measured move that goes a bit too far. Again, I call those two-legged pullbacks. Trap the bears in with a failure pattern, 2 tries, like I teach in the free video course. And then as always, grab that bear trap on the way back up to retest that high. That is the sequence I'm looking for tomorrow if we do keep on running higher. Now let's finish the video tonight by talking about what if we run up and we start stalling out up here? How would I short this thing off the high? Great question. Now, first of all, whenever I'm going against the overall trend direction, it's always a half size position, a quarter size position. I'll let you decide what's best for your risk tolerance. But we know that shorting the highs on this is not going to be as reliable as waiting for a clear breakout and buying a breakout pullback, because again, we're going along with the trend in that scenario. With the disclaimer, now, let's look for that same crown reversal we talked about earlier on the rug pull going lower. A crown reversal is if I start seeing buyers come in and try once to keep going higher and they get held up at resistance, they go lower. Buyers come in one more time and try to go higher. It's basically a technical bull trap pattern, a nice strong red candle closing back below that 21 EMA. That's your signal for a crown reversal pattern. Now, like anything else, sometimes we don't get that pattern. Sometimes what happens is we run up and there's so many buyers that take profit up here and no more buyers want to buy high. It gets whacked back down and kind of basically V-tops and runs back down again. When that happens, if that happens tomorrow, keep an eye out for that grinder, right? Where it pops down and begins to grind going lower. It won't look like this, right? It'll V-top and grind more follow through than we saw today. But if it grinds down like this, remember, mark off that low, mark off that high, right? Find the hidden channel and then look left, find those prior swings, and I want that first test, right? That first test is always the best test off that high. And again, I'm keeping it pretty simple tonight. Keep the video short because this could be a bull trap like we're showing you here. It could be a buyer failure pattern, a pullback combination pattern. Again, all the stuff you guys are learning inside that free video course. So we may go up, hold the pullback, keep going higher, separation off that moving average. That's your bear trap, right? That's your bear trap. Continuation, higher high in price. But if we run up and we start seeing these buyers, oh boy, 1, 2, oh, they're struggling now. Now that bull trap, bam, right? Back down into that trading range, the amount above, the amount below. And what do you do down here? You don't sell it. Right? Take your profit on the shorts. You wait for those bears to come in, let them commit. Horrible place to be a seller, and you squeeze those stops and whoop, right back up into that trading range. All right, guys, that's the game plan for tomorrow. Gave you guys some long trades, a couple short trades, a couple variations we're watching tomorrow morning. Now, speaking of tomorrow morning, don't forget tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Guys, the best way to make consistent money in these markets is to learn and trade along with us every morning in our trade room. I'm going to put all the important links again in the description of the YouTube video, the free class links, the trader membership links. Start first with the free video course, learn the roadmap, start making money on your own. Everyone loves that free video course. And as always, any questions, any trouble getting started, don't be afraid to use live chat or pick up the phone and call the office. Guys, thanks for being tonight. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Hope you learned a bunch. Hope you use this knowledge to make a bunch tomorrow. And hopefully I'll see you sometime soon and trade with us, 8 o'clock Eastern time as a brand new member. In the meantime, be well, be nice to each other out there, and have a great one. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.